Hello, I'm the Eternal Newbie. The extra L is for lurking. As in, lurking in the wings is the insidious mastermind of today's tale of manipulation and bullying. It's almost like a D&D campaign in a way. In the first half, you think you know who the real bad guy is, and while you're not wrong, that is still a bad guy, a new threat emerges in the second half. The real villain of the story who puts the fake villain to shame. Let's get to it, shall we? This is a situation from a friend of mine about her first experience in D&D 5e that she told me about and I witnessed while watching her play. I'm writing this on a throwaway, names changed, to hopefully reassure her that she is not the issue whatsoever in this scenario because she still believes that she is. This is a much longer and more involved story with a long list of infuriating crimes, but I'm shortening for this sub. My friend, we'll call her Marley, was invited as a newbie to a stream D&D campaign that had already been running for a year. When she asked if the party had space for a tank because she loved being a tank, the DM was very excited as they didn't have one yet. Here's the gist of the other players. Human fighter Grunt. He got a bit of plot along with being a half-demon, possibly or something like that. Leonin, warlock Jerry, who was constantly forgotten, backgrounded, underpowered, and bitched about by the DM. His family are just nice people. Leonin, bard Perry, the supposed healer who was turfed out pretty quickly, sister of Jerry. Elf, devotional paladin Marley, my friend who is related to possibly a big bad evil guy and had a family curse. And the ancient paladin Shinjin, the very special boy. We'll get to him, I promise. From the first months of playing, Perry had caused an argument and given Jerry a panic attack. When the players were sat down to address the behavior, the DM left it up to the players to reprimand Perry. Shinji spoke up and instead began to berate Marley for having a scene with an NPC that ran too long and took time away from everyone else. 5 minutes! DM nodded along. Marley apologizes, being made to think it was her fault. Grunt tries to stand up for her and later asks the DM why no one actually reprimanded Perry, to which the DM said he was waiting for Jerry to. Marley tells him that was wrong and Jerry was still upset. The next few months, Marley feels pressured to take up almost no time and is barely allowed to speak. Her and Jerry get maybe 5 things to say in 4-hour sessions, and if they try to take initiative, they are talked over or Shinji tells them what to do instead. DM also constantly brings up that Shinji is upset. He is not as tanky as Marley. Marley is unsure what he wants to do about it and just says, isn't he trying to be DPS and healing? So it stretches stats thin if you're pushing for tankiness, wouldn't it? As she is unsure what he expects and how D&D works, to which the DM agrees, he is. Over the next few months, the plot becomes incredibly focused on Shinji. He keeps getting armor and boosts to his character, and he keeps talking over others, or telling others what their characters did instead. For example, if Jerry said he was going to try to destroy vases to release trapped souls, Shinji would interrupt and say, I smash all the vases, releasing the souls while Jerry is trying to break one. He broke into hour-long monologues about friendships, feelings, or being a good person every other session. Took hours to argue with the party about wanting to do things his way or having scenes with NPCs and try to sabotage other player characters' opportunities if he wanted them. One-up other players on everything, rules lawyered other players, ignored nat 20 saves and metagame knowledge. Yelling over Marley multiple times because he thought she was going to get something cool. She wasn't, and telling the DM, he can't be serious, and can't let her have this, and stop her, now! Or trying to manipulate her in-game into not doing something that would benefit her character if he wanted it. When Marley experienced her first D&D character death, before she could react, he yelled, can I have the stat boost she just got then? And kept pestering the DM until the DM gave in, making offhanded jabs about how tanky Marley is, insulting other players constantly, and mocked Marley's accent. Marley ended several sessions in tears because of this. Well now, Shinji sounds like a real pleasure to be around, doesn't he? The character's body is not even cold and he's already yelling about getting her stuff. Notice how he keeps taking advantage of newer or quieter players? He knows who he can push around, and at first glance it appears the DM is on the list. I don't know if Shinji has compromising pictures of the DM or what, but allowing one player to bully others is no bueno. Look, I get it. When you start the DM, you're trying to have a good time and you don't want to police players' actions. I mean, we're all supposed to be grown-ass adults here. But it is part of the DM's job, unfortunately. If a player's out of line, expecting other players to pull him back is not going to work 99% of the time. Now, if you've seen any different, please let me know. I would love to hear about it. All the while, the character had to constantly do things like keeping Shinji's character safe because the Act 1 big bad evil guy was after him, personally, and be his personal bodyguards, meet his every demand, act sad in his character trauma scenes, and cheer for him when he did well. The plot was all about how Shinji was the reincarnation of a hero king of legend who conquered the world, could control Tiamat, chosen by Lathander, Ilmater, etc. themselves, whose wife is crazy about him, and he can control ice, fire, light, time, reality, mind, etc. And in this incarnation, he has 2 legendary pieces of armor, 2 legendary swords, a legendary ring and bow he stole from other players and wouldn't give back, is a melee ranged DPS tank healer who can summon Lathander, a phoenix, a steed, and a vision of an evil version of his best friend who is the Act 1 big bad evil guy with insane abilities. You get the picture. A little bit more involved for a character than everyone else's. So how was the DM handling this? Every time it was brought up, the DM would push the players to rein in Shinji's terrible behavior, wanting them to roleplay it out amongst themselves. Marley, not knowing any better, thought she was supposed to, and that it was her fault when Shinji lashed out at others for not keeping him in check, as the DM was pressuring them to. If other players, other than Shinji, asked how to make their class work, their class feel stronger, the DM would threaten to take stats or gear from them, and often did take stats away. Every time Shinji begged, bullied, pestered, yelled, or berated, he would either get his way or simply chuckled at by the DM. If Grunt tried to stick up for Marley, he would get a talking to and be accused of interrupting Marley. If Jerry said he wanted to be stronger, he would be denied. Marley tried to vie for Jerry to get more attention or help with not being so weak. The DM would start knocking him about how he played too passively. The DM would say nice things to people's faces or encourage them to do something, then punish them for it in session or bitch about them behind their back. He made it Marley's problem specifically to be the one to rein in Shinji, complaining that Jerry was too passive and did nothing and would encourage her and tell her she's doing well when she did, but threatened to cut her story if she played too passively. He made it her problem to stop Shinji losing his character, saying if she didn't try to stop him, he'd be corrupted by the Act 1 big bad evil guy and become a villain. Marley spent her last few sessions feeling as though she had to be argumentative and being unable to play the character she wanted. But every time she brought this up to the DM, saying she was upset, he kept egging her on to be pushy. It was only when Marley overheard the DM telling Jerry and Grunt 2 different things to their faces to other players, i.e. encouraging them, then bad-mouthing them for the same behavior, did Marley get suspicious and was shown screenshots of the DM doing the same thing to her, calling her aggressive and saying he didn't understand why she was acting like this and that she was being bitchy. She confronted the DM and told him she felt like she had to because of his threat, and he guilt-tripped her saying he was hurt, that she didn't realize the threat of taking her story away was a joke, even though he had said it to Jerry and Grunt in front of her too. Marley is no longer playing that campaign after a year of leaving sessions, and the DM told her how her story would end, and told her that her character wasn't very important, and the real kicker was she was told nothing she was being egged on to do would have mattered anyway. Wow, what a plot twist. I thought the DM was just a really passive type of person, but turns out the real problem wasn't Shinji. I mean, don't get me wrong, Shinji was still a major problem. But turns out the DM was the mastermind pulling the strings behind the curtain. Which makes perfect sense when you think about it. Remember, this was a streamed game. Player conflict is great for views. That's why stories like this are quite popular. The DM put showmanship above the game and the players, which never works. He wanted his players to fight in character, even dangling rewards in front of them for doing it. That's probably why Shinji got all the amazing items while the rest of the characters were scraping by. He was the good little soldier doing the DM's bidding. Who cares about little things like people and their feelings when you must please the almighty algorithm? Oh, and OP, if you happen to see this, you can tell your friend she was not the problem. A dysfunctional DM caused everything. But enough from me. What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in comment form. Likes are also likewise appreciated. And if you're new around here, how about sticking around with a sub? In any case, thank you so much for watching, and as always, play your character. Don't let your character play you.